If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.
Ooh, it's a baby Larry O.B. It's the baby Larry O.B. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, bench warmers of all ages? You can see it there. Obviously, you know exactly what we're leading off with if you looked at it. If you follow us on social media, which everybody should, at FEOTB Pod, you saw the picture that I used. It was the ring picture. It's the only time that I will ever allow Stan Kroenke on the timeline of the podcast. But we have to talk about it. We're live. First time Nico and I have been live with you all. In a little bit of time, I've been going live with my other shows, but now it's him and I back where we originally started. And what better time than we're 2 nights removed from banner night. So we normally, behind the scenes of the show, we normally record on Tuesdays, which you can catch on Thursdays every single week at FEOTB Pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube right now, leave a like, leave a comment, and be sure to check out the podcast and tell your friends about it. Follow on listening platforms, which you'll be able to hear this right after we're done. We normally record on Tuesdays, the release on Thursdays. We're live Thursday because Nico is a season ticket. His family has season tickets to the Nuggets. He's been a Nuggets fan forever. Obviously, Tuesday was going to be too big of a deal. Like, we can't do the podcast. I'm not going to force him to sit at home, watch the game from home so we can do the podcast on Tuesday. I'm going to let my boy go to the game. I'm going to let him enjoy his moment, something that he's been dreaming of, I know, but never necessarily thought was going to happen until very recently. So we're kicking things off with your world champion. Let me get it up there. Denver Nuggets banner night. Nico, you were live with it, so let's bring the people in. Let's bring in the live viewers, and let's explain just exactly how did you feel Tuesday night. That's your team. Like we talked about it. The Broncos you love, the Avs you love, the Nuggets are your team. How did that feel Tuesday night?
Well, first, let's not forget, like, for months now, I've been circling October 24th for a long-ass time to get me through football season, to get me through the summer, because I knew a couple things happened. One, the Los Angeles Lakers will be coming into town. And then the second of all, I knew that the first ever basketball banner would be raised and the ring ceremony would be October 24th with the NBA season restarting back where it ended 100 some odd days ago. That would be in Denver, Colorado. So yeah, I was able to be there, man. Like I said, the Nuggets, Nuggets did something special. Like I said, I'll remember that night. I'll remember Game 5 for the rest of my life. Like you said, every time you walk into that arena, you can go up and you look at that banner. You'd be like, "Yep, I was there for that." It doesn't matter if it's a concert. It doesn't matter if it's an Avs game, a Mammoth game, a Nuggets game. You'll always see that up there, and that'll forever be enriched there. To see the absolutely immaculate rings that show the history of the Denver Nuggets, that show the grit and grind of what this team went through to get to this point. Everything was magical about the banner raising, which like I said, I had my own little banner. They handed this out as we were walking out. Yep, I almost was super extra, Jimmy. I told Jimmy this already. I almost super extra and made my own little banner ceremony that I was going to do live on the pod, but I don't have the capabilities in my apartment.
We're not engineering students. So,
we're not engineering. Exactly. I'm nowhere near able to do that. But the banners went up, the rings came out, and then what happened after that, Jimmy?
There was a game that took place right after, right?
There's a basketball game. Oh,
yeah, no, I remember because it was the Lakers coming back from that, the greatest performance ever in a sweep. Right, that's what they were coming back from.
Greatest performance ever. The conversations all summer that LeBron and AD were having, and the cryptic tweets from Europe by LeBron being like, "Have your fun," and oh man, it was. I'm not sure what happened Tuesday night. Do we
want to? I have a video that'll probably explain it. It's a good one for the. This is where we got to Tuesday night. So this was kind of the build-up. This is what we're mentioning. We talked about it during our NBA preview. Keep my name out your mouth. This is what we're talking about. So if you're watching live on YouTube, thank you for joining us. If you're watching the YouTube video back, we'll probably have this one clipped as well if you're just listening. But here's the video. This is the smack talk that was going on between these two teams all summer.
Oh, they're talking about us?
It was just a lot of
the talking and all the Lakers. That it was just so much of that going on. Like, all right, we get it, y'all won, but I think me and Brian had some conversations like we can't wait.
That was what, like 4 months ago. Yeah.
Well, I think everybody knows it was pointed at us. They can do it indirectly, if they want, but I think it was very obvious to the public eye. That's why everybody was talking about it. I'm going to go play the first game against them, but I think it adds a little bit of motivation.
I can't speak for anybody in LA. I can speak for the 17 players on our team, 18 players now in our group, but if they're still worried about us, that's on them.
About us, that's on them. That's the key.
Yeah,
Worried
1 second, because this is the detriment of a live show, but I'm getting a live package. Ooh, I don't mean to disrupt you, but this is I don't live alone, unfortunately.
Oh, nice new Avs tarp. Looks like. Oh, that was the Stadium Series. From the Stadium Series, that was in what's it called? That was in
Colorado. Was that the Air Force?
The Air Force game. The Air Force game. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Shout out Dom. He's been on a couple of our other shows. It's from Savannah and me. Savannah and Dom. Shout out you guys. I guess I'll get one of those out early. We'll do a segment of that towards the end. Sorry, Nico. We're talking about the Lakers daddies. Yes, the Denver Nuggets. Wait a second. Excuse me. The world champion Denver Nuggets.
World champion Denver Nuggets. Yeah, it's very funny. The whole offseason, they just couldn't stop talking about us. Jimmy. Their fan base was making hype videos for an opening night game. I saw their fan base basically writing their Super Bowl off, being like, you know what, like we're gonna ruin their ring night, ruin their banner night, all that and the other thing. And man, I don't know what it is about that Lakers team, but it's like they're dead to me. 5 straight losses, being called the Lakers daddies, the Nuggets being called the Lakers daddies, getting chanted "Who's your daddy?" at you when the AD goes 0 for 6 in the second half. I mean, like I said, the banner night and the ring night is so special, Jimmy. It's so special in a number of ways. Like I said, hockey does it. Hockey does it a little differently. They only do the banner. They do the ring. Everyone gets their ring on a separate notice. The NFL doesn't really do it publicly. The NBA is really the one that has the banner and the ring night right there, opening night in front of everybody. And to do that, on TNT with Shaq, Chuck, Ernie, and company, all there, which I enjoyed thoroughly going to see them live. Have them be there, have them do all that is really special. And then when you get to face these chumps, absolute chumps, that's the Los Angeles losers, come into town, where they come in early while the banner's still being raised. Don't get me wrong, it took a long ass time for that banner to go to the floor to the roof.
Oh, they melted. They melted. Yeah.
But the Lakers started walking out as we were standing there, and I looked over and I was like, you fucked up. You fucked up.
You done messed around and made it.
They thought it was cute, Jimmy. They really did. They thought it was cute, being like, "Oh, we're gonna ruin your night, ruin that, and the other thing." And it's like that performance. Oh man, 5 straight losses to the same team. That must suck, huh? 5 straight losses.
I don't know how that feels. Nico, I don't know how that feels right now.
Their last 5 games, they've all lost the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, as you're listening to this, the Lakers play tonight against the Suns. Load management, but with the Suns, we can talk about later. But your last 5 games, you've lost the Denver Nuggets, and pretty easily too. Let's be honest with ourselves. Look, in the third quarter, the league got to 3 points, and then Jokic stepped on the floor and be like, "All right, let me look at my fingers, turn the page. I think I'm gonna beat you this way tonight. Hold on, nope, not that one. AD, which way do you want to get beat? Let me lick my fingers, turn the page, and let's see what other ways I should be whoop your ass.
To be back here playing basketball. I want to be back with my horses. I'm going to drop 40 on your head.
Imagine getting your ass kicked all night by Nikola Jokic, Anthony Davis. Imagine getting your ass kicked all night by a guy that didn't touch a fucking basketball for 3 months. Let's not forget that he came out and put a triple-double on your head.
Yes, I was going to say, and he's stat hunting again with triple-doubles. What, with 29, 13, and 11? Really? Why are we stat hunting already? We're doing this already? Kendrick Perkins about to have a field day, Nico. About to have a field day.
It's so unfortunate, man.
This is ridiculous. And here's the only thing that I want people to leave this with. If you think that we're being outrageous, or here's a score, by the way, 119-107. and a guy named Reggie Jackson is the one who hit the dagger 3. Never even that's where I got to throw this one up there, which everybody remembers from last week.
Reggie Jackson, by the way, from Monument, Colorado. No, let's not
There
forget.
we go.
Colorado
Local boy.
Guy.
Let's so you were live. Were you a part of the Who's Your Daddy chant? Or
Oh,
did
you
just
bet your ass!
Okay.
Look, my whole family was there. My family now has 5 tickets to every other game. We have 2 tickets to every game, home game at least, and now we have 3 more for our whole family to be there. Basically, every other game. So not the full season, but every other game. And my mom, my little brother, and me and my dad. My dad and I sat in our normal seats. My mom and brother and the other 2. And like I said, it was cool being back around our people. Right? You have the 2 guys from Arizona to my right who look like Napoleon Dynamite, but are absolute homies, are the coolest people in the world. Are sitting to our right. There's the father and son behind us that were at every single home game during the playoffs. There's the 6 group of guys that are all best friends that all bought season tickets that are sitting to the left of us, and we're all our own little circle there, right? Our own little circle there, and being there and realizing what's going on is like it's just unreal. It's just really unreal. And like I said, seeing those videos, seeing everything that popped up, really just was tear jerk reactions. It really was tear jerk reactions. It was pretty damn cool. I'll tell you what.
Well, we're gonna listen to the chant. If you haven't heard it, if you live under a rock, if you don't follow the NBA quite enough. This was
and look, I made sure. I was like, my dad wanted to leave early. I was like, Dad, hold on, something's about to happen. Because look, I'm a guy who listens to the local radio here in Denver. I listen to Altitude Sports Radio, and they were saying, they were like, hey guys, we know what's gonna happen. Just be prepared to do it when it's a good time. When the Lakers take their stars out, and look, yeah, I told my dad, I was like, yeah, we're waiting. I was like, what are you waiting? I was like, just you'll see why.
Well, we're going to listen to the chant, and then there. I found another one that actually they had Jamal Murray mic'd up for TNT, and we're going to get his reaction, his little conversation with Mike Malone. So we're going to have back-to-back videos, and then we're going to close out this segment talking about some of the other games, and then Nico sent me some videos from his seat, so we'll give you some of the fan experience. But this is the Who's Your Daddy chants, because, again, Denver Nuggets are the Lakers, and LeBron James' daddy.
Michael Malone told us, he said, I'm not going to give minutes just because you might be a talked about rookie. You got to earn minutes, and all these guys know that.
The fact that it was Kevin Harlan too talking over it, it makes it iconic.
Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller were like, I think they're chanting "Who's Your Daddy," and they were like,
you bet your ass.
You gotta realize something, Jimmy. Is like it's in the modern sports today, American sports, specifically American sports, outside of college basketball, college football, you don't see like a group of people chant so perfectly a single saying like that outside of "Let's go X, go whatever," or "Clap clap, let's go whatever." Defense, like you don't hear that outside of a college basketball game. 19,000 people strong. We're chanting, "Who's your fucking daddy, Jimmy?" That cannot be stated enough. This isn't Europe. This isn't like the Premier League. This isn't the Cameron Crazies at Duke. This is a National Basketball Association. There's fucking 80-year-old motherfuckers sitting in the stands chanting "Who's your daddy" at them. It gets bad, and then there's even worse. Like if you're a Lakers fan, that is as low as you can get. But hey, congratulations, Lakers fans. You want to gloat your rings, gloat all that. You're the team of the past. I listened to the DMVR. They said it perfect. You're the team of the past, man. Give him a hand, Jimmy. Team of the past. Team of the past. But guess what? You ain't fucking now. You ain't it. You ain't shit now. And to get chanted like that with 19,000 people strong, with everybody knowing what's going to happen and knowing that you want to talk all this shit, it doesn't get more perfect than that, is all I'm going to say. It does not get more perfect than that.
And here is Jamal Murray and Mike Malone's live court reaction before we get into Nico's videos from his seats.
This is your fault. We gotta go there, and this is what you started.
the funniness, because obviously Vic Lombardi was the one who started that, and the only slight Michael Malone ever did said anything about the Lakers was fake retiring on the Pat McAfee show. Let's not forget about that, okay? So it's very, very funny, but yeah, I look at every single part of that. This, like I said, it's crazy. You listen across the Denver area, right? Like Broncos this, Broncos that. The Broncos are in the middle of the season, Jimmy. Have you heard this much Avalanche and Nuggets talk this time of the year ever? Ever?
You know, 1043 made a brand new digital media side of their company, and they have a podcast dedicated to the Nuggets, dedicated to the Avalanche to go along with their 3-hour shows, where the Broncos have not been the leading story at all this season. Even all the old NFL, because 1043 has Schlereth, they have Stokely, they have Nick Ferguson, actually Nick Ferguson went to KOA recently. They have all these former NFL guys. And guess what they're all talking about? It's the Denver Nuggets, it's the Colorado Avalanche, and oh my God, how bad are the Broncos? That's like the footnote at the end of the show. It used to be Broncos all the time, and the Nuggets and Avalanche would get like 15 seconds as they're wrapping up. Hey, listen to the next show. Also, Nuggets play, I think, at home, and the Avalanche might be away. Now it's the Colorado Avalanche, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar. They're number 1, number 2 players in the world, and everything is going the Nuggets' way. That video gives me, I'm sure you've seen the new version, but the old White Men Can't Jump with Woody Harrelson. It is hard, goddamn work, making something this pretty look like a geek. Like, if you have the confidence and the skill level to back it up and you drop that many points, like drop 120 opening night on the Los Angeles Lakers heads, you could be a little cocky. This is because you. You can mess around. You can back it up. That's awesome. We have a team where we can talk crap and we can back it up.
Like I said, look, this city in general is just wanting to clamp onto something. Like I said, the Avs 2 years ago feel like a year and a half, less than 2 years, a year and a half ago, and obviously the Nuggets this year. It's like I said, it's something great. Like I said, I know football is a king. I know football is the king. It will always be king in terms of American sports. It may change one day, but that's right now. It's football, and that's where the conversation ends and starts with every single night on most channels. But here in Denver, this town is slowly moving into a hockey and basketball town. And look, I've seen more Nuggets stuff. I've seen more Avs stuff the last 2 years than I have Broncos stuff wearing around. And like I said, it is you're proud to wear that stuff everywhere. And like I said, I traveled 12 months this summer. You could not see a single Broncos shirt wherever you went. Like you said, buying merchandise. Vegas, for instance. I was in Vegas in January or February, whenever it was. Vegas, still selling Denver Nuggets gear. Vegas, selling Colorado Avalanche gear. Broncos gear. You have to ask somebody for them to pull it out. Like that's how big these two teams have gotten. And like I said, look, we don't say a lot of nice things about the Cronkies, but they have done an excellent job of making sure that who's put in place is the right man or woman for it, and letting them do what they think. Because like I said, without Calvin Booth, without Tim Connolly, without Joe Sakic, Chris McFarland and company, these two franchises that aren't still on local television would probably be not where they are. So it is, like I said, it's so damn cool, and it's so damn cool being there for the first ever one. And like I said, I'll cherish every second of that.
That's a great lead in, Nico. You've been podcasting now long enough. You know how to sell what we're bringing in next. This is the 15,000 of Nico and his closest Nuggets friends. 19,000 and of Nico's closest friends, Nuggets fans, getting to react to the ring ceremony and the banner live from Ball Arena on Tuesday night.
video skills are obviously still not very good. That's why Jimmy and
It's
I are not.
we're saying the
yeah.
iPhone. It's an iPhone. I wanted the raw footage because that's what I like most. That's why those we still have the sounds from that Avalanche playoff game that we went to. I believe it was last season, the first one against the Kraken here at home where we won, and actually it was game 2, and we won that one. We played the raw sound from there. You don't need to edit magic like that because you've talked about it. When you love a team like that, I talked about it when the Bengals were getting ready to play in the AFC Championship. I was walking Boomer that morning. I was like, I'm thinking about them winning the AFC Championship, and I'm watching it, and I'm thinking about crying. Like, I'm sure there was, moments where you're like, man, I shouldn't be crying over a team that I don't play for, but I put so much into this. Like, I invested so much into them, and it's paying off now, and I get to be here for the very first time we do this. This is the first Nuggets championship banner that gets hung in the rafters. That lives forever, and that moment lives forever.
It's pretty awesome. And look, like I said, the Nuggets did an excellent job the whole night. And more importantly, talking about like the video that they showed before, they called each one of them up to get their rings. There's a video of the Nuggets had video clips from, I want to say 50 to 100 home videos of people just losing their mind after we won. And Jamal and Jokic jumping in the pool, and people jumping in the pool with their own jerseys, tackling their friends. Look, it's something I'll never forget, and like I said, it was a great end to that chapter. I will say that. Like I said, that chapter has been closed, and that's a great thing about that is this team realized that, you know what, this is a special moment in our city. We're going to cherish this banner. We're going to cherish these rings, and then this team, as professional as it is, turn that page and said it's time to still take care of business, because now the target is on our back and everybody's gunning for us. And let's make a statement and whoop this sorry ass team.
The climb is always easier than trying to stay at the top, but this team seems like they're poised. They want the smoke. They want teams to try and come in here and dethrone the defending champions, because guess what? They get to prove every single night, yeah, we won it last year. We're still a damn good team. We have our eyes set on number 2. We're not thinking about number 1 anymore. We didn't. As much as I love the Avalanche partied a little too hard after theirs, especially with as quick as that season was going to turn around. The Nuggets, outside of like the first few weeks in the parade, it was all business. Like, it was a lot of guys getting ready. No slouching. I mean, I wasn't really watching the game, but like it seems like Christian Brown guys that they stepped up big in the postseason. We're thinking, okay, how's that success going to translate to this upcoming season? Now we can talk a little bit more about the first few days of the NBA season. It's too early to talk about standings or anything like that. Just around the league, I know that you've been watching basketball like crazy, especially because your football season.
As we're recording this, there's Thursday night football, and I'm watching basketball. I'm watching the Bucks and Sixers game on the background. That's how dedicated and how much I needed basketball in my life is all I'm going to say.
That was, and you're not missing anything because the game just kicked off as we're live here, and it's 0-0. But Buffalo does have a chance to score at the moment. But like, what have you seen so far out of this first few days? Obviously, big storylines coming into the season was Dame going to Milwaukee. I saw James Harden still not showing up, and now the NBA is going to be investigating why he wasn't on national TV. But just what are some of the other big storylines that maybe some people haven't been paying attention to if they're still watching football or baseball or hockey or something like that?
Obviously, Dame is the big piece. And going to Milwaukee, as I'm watching this game, the Bucks have been playing very, very well tonight against Philly. Philly and Milwaukee are the 2 biggest stories out of the East. Obviously, when you look at what the Bucks did in the offseason, and you look at what's going on behind the scenes in Philadelphia. Philadelphia is just down very, very badly right now. Phillies lose. Eagles our Eagles push is going to get taken away, and then James Harden isn't allowed back on the team plane to travel. There's a lot of problems going on in Philadelphia. Harden situation is very, very interesting. See what they do. Night 1, obviously the Nuggets beat the Lakers, and then we saw Suns versus Warriors. I'm going to stand on this, and I know I said this in our previous show last week. It's the Denver Nuggets versus Phoenix Suns on a collision course to represent the Western Conference. I firmly believe in that. The Lakers don't worry me anymore. The Kings, that's where it gets interesting. The Warriors look like they have their own problems. It looks like they're going to have to rely on a lot more role players than they have in years past. So we'll see how that looks. Memphis doesn't worry me, obviously. And then there's a couple other teams there that just the Clippers. they won't stay healthy. Right now, it's the Suns and the Nuggets Western Conference to lose. The Kings are going to be very, very good. And obviously, I haven't seen Minnesota, and I haven't seen Minnesota's first game. I didn't see New Orleans' first game. Those are the two wildcard teams, maybe. So keep an eye on. But right now, across the landscape of the NBA, like you cannot be more. Like, there's a lot of hype right now. There is a lot of basketball hype, and I'm not just saying just because of the Nuggets winning here in Denver. I think across the league there's been a lot of people excited to watch, excited to turn basketball back on their TVs on Tuesday nights, on Wednesday nights, when you don't want to watch your girlfriend watching The Bachelor. You can go turn the other TV on and throw on NBA basketball or NHL hockey. I think a lot of people are very, very excited, and like I said, it's going to be a very, very interesting season how things end up. Because, like I said, there's stories all across the league, and the Bulls have decided that they're going to have a players only meeting after the first game. So like I said, the NBA is the story that never stops giving. Is all I'm going to say. So, as our boy Terrell, poor Lakers fan, always says, there's going to be big time storylines all winter long.
Big time storylines. How did Wembanyama look? Because I know he was turning heads in preseason. Let's talk about him. Number 1 overall pick, physical freak. Like, honestly, it looks like even a guy like me, who I have zero basketball, I shouldn't be able. I mean, I watched it enough as I was broadcasting it, but I can't really see talent. I see something there, or at least I did in the preseason clips, and those were obviously highlights put together by the team. But as somebody who knows the game, what have you seen out of Victor Wembanyama in his first professional debut here in America?
On Wednesday night, when Wemby stepped on the floor, like I said, it's an alien. It's this Giannis KD hybrid that's being put in front of our eyes. Is what I'll say. I'll say two things. One, Wemby has a lot of room to grow. He had a rough night. He did not have a good night because look, you're facing the best players in the world, but you're not only facing the best players in the world, you're facing the best coaches in the world who can now game plan for you every night. And like I said, look, Europe is very, very competitive. There's a lot of decent players over there. But the way these coaches in the NBA do today and how they game plan for certain players is going to neutralize him very, very much so. And look, the Spurs are not going to be a good team. They are not going to be a good team.
They had the number 1 overall pick for a reason.
Yeah, they are not. Like I said, Jerry Sochan may be the only other good player in that team. Keldon Johnson's not terrible, but it's going to be a Wemby show and see what he does every night, unfortunately. And it's going to be must-watch TV because, like I said, it's the same thing we're talking about Bedard, with which the Blackhawks are talking about Joe Burrow in his rookie season. The Bengals weren't very good, and Baker Mayfield when he got drafted by Cleveland, they're not very good. But it's going to be must-watch TV to see what this guy fucking looks like. And look, he's an alien. He's going to be very, very talented for hopefully a lot of years to come. But like I said, he's not going to be on a very, very good team, and it's going to take some growing pains. Is all I'm going to say.
That first time that he really blossoms and he drops 50 on somebody and has a couple blocks because he's so long, that's ESPN's just going to explode. They're waiting for that moment, especially because then they'll be able to get to talk about Pop too, because of the Spurs and everything like that. But they're obviously waiting. But yeah, we're going to talk about anything else on the NBA, or are we good to transition over to the NHL?
You can just put the ticker up one more time and just
okay,
let the world know.
Everybody.
Yeah, just to make sure that they all know where the defending champions are coming from.
Reigning, defending, undisputed NBA champions of the world. I still got the pipes. I still got the PA announcer pipes. Let's talk hockey, and I think we should start with the Chicago Blackhawks and Connor Bedard, because guess what? They've had that is crazy. I was listening to our favorite hockey podcast besides our buddies at Tell It As It Is. I was listening to Chicklets. 4 of his first 5 games in the NHL were on primetime television.
It's crazy.
It's the same thing that they did with Crosby. It's the same thing that they did with Gretzky when they realized he was that good.
I don't think they didn't even do this with David. I mean, David.
It was because he was in Edmonton. The thing is with Bedard's situation is he's in Chicago, which is like I'd say probably top 4 medium markets. I think it goes back and forth with Atlanta, but it's big. So you can put the Blackhawks. It's the original 6 franchise. You're not an expansion team.
Yeah,
he has a lot of room to grow, and that's. I honestly think I agree with what I was hearing, but like he has to be pissed off with the NHL. Like, why put me on national television? I already am going to have all of this new attention because I'm the number 1 overall pick, and everybody's seen my highlights and what I did to everybody in juniors as a 17-year-old and 16-year-old. I'm 18 now. I'm playing against grown men who want to rip my head off. I just think back to that game against the Avalanche, and I think it was Miles Wood and Drouin both hit him at the same time, and he just got up, looked around, and was like, what the why are you hitting me? We have other players on the team, guys. You can worry about somebody else. Stop chasing me down. God, he's seeing shadows by the end of that game. And I, unfortunately, because there's not a tough guy on Chicago, there's not somebody there that's going to be able to really protect him. He's going to have to, he's going to get beat up this season.
And look, I really do feel bad for the kid because I think you hit the nail on the head. Like if he was playing in Anaheim or San Jose or something like that, like I don't think we would have seen 4 out of 5 nationally televised game. I don't think that at all. And like I said, look, but that's part of the stick of playing for the Blackhawks. It's part of the stick for playing for the Knicks, part of the stick playing for the Yankees, playing for the Red Sox, playing for the Dodgers, the Jets, like playing for these big market cities is like you're expected of greatness. Like everyone, like unfortunately for the poor kid, if you don't start performing right away, there's going to be a lot of talking heads. That's the sad part about it. Is look, the Blackhawks are not a good team. Let's not forget they're not a good team. Okay,
they're last for a reason right now.
And the poor kid is going to have every single person in the league watching him, and you're on a bad team, and he's just going to be like, his numbers aren't very good. This, that, and the other thing, and I think it's going to obviously hurt the growth spurt. I think it may take more time for him to get his feet wet and feet under him to get going back in the league. But like I said, around a bad team, nationally televised, this many eyes on him, it's just not going to end well.
And he's in a place with a terrible culture. Like the biggest news media out of Chicago has been just that scandal over the last 3 years. And now you look over to the other side of things with the Bears, and they have that shit going on with the defensive coordinator. Like there's a dark cloud over that city. And he got thrust into the NHL is relying on him because Sid is getting older. Like you're the next generation. You fit in, like you lead these guys. I know that Fantilli and one of the guys for the Coyotes made their professional debuts also. But honestly, it's been secondhand news because everybody's talking about Bedard and everybody's been talking about the Blackhawks. And I'm looking at the standings here. In 7 games, Nico, they have 4 points. They are 2-5. They haven't even gotten a loser point. They haven't been able to push their losses to overtime at this point. 0-2 at home, 2-3 on the road, have a -7 goal differential. It's terrible. We shouldn't have expected. I don't think anybody was. We're not expecting. You can expect maybe like if he gets to 20 goals with the team that he has around him, he will have shown enough growth to be like, okay, you can get a better team around him in his sophomore season. Let's see if he can actually do something. If you're expecting 40 goals right now, that's unrealistic.
People were expecting 100 points out of him. I think that's even way too much.
I don't think anybody on Chicago is going to have 100 points.
No, I think if he hits the 70, 80 mark points for the season, I think that's a very, very successful season for him. And I think that's what Chicago needs to really take into account is because, like I said, the Bulls aren't very good. The White Sox and the Cubs both missed the playoffs, not very good. The Bears, obviously, one of the worst teams in the NFL. Unfortunately, Connor Bedard is the fucking show in Chicago right now. Like it or not, Connor Bedard is the show. It is goddamn Michael Jackson on Broadway with a bunch of schlums. Okay, that's the musical that you're signing up for, Chicago, unfortunately. But that's just where your sports teams are at. And like I said, look, does he deserve all this praise that we're giving him? Absolutely. The kid has all the promise in the world, but he needs to get bigger. He needs to get stronger. And my God, he needs help around him. And look, hopefully for your and my sake, Jimmy, it's not for a very, very long time because I like the Blackhawks being bad. I don't know about you, but I do. So like I said, I like Bedard. I really do. But I hope that his team sucks for a very, very long time. But I hope he puts up points elsewise.
Like I said, I think there's some people in the media that was overblowing things, and he might have had some unrealistic expectations. Teams with what have turned out to be very realistic expectations. Boston picks right up where they left off from last regular season. They are 6-0 currently. The Avalanche are 6-0 on 6-game winning streak, and the defending Stanley Cup champions. As much as I like to say, I like that the quote that I think it was Peyton Manning. He said that the Avalanche just let the Knights borrow the cup for a season. Well, the Golden Knights haven't lost a game in regulation, I think, since last March. They haven't lost yet this season, and they talked about it after their cup run last year. I don't know if the Avalanche could have played another series. The Vegas Golden Knights very easily could have played another Eastern Conference team if we wanted to say, okay, hold on, timeout. The Panthers were the 8th seed. let's get the Bruins back in here. They could have played a whole nother series and had plenty of depth. Like they didn't even dress. What is it? What's the fat guy that likes to drink Coke and eat hot dogs?
Phil Kessel.
Phil. They didn't even dress him for like half of any of the playoffs, and they were still dominating everybody. The Golden Knights are going to be a problem, and I think we're seeing, just like we talked about in the COVID season, the year after, it's leading towards Vegas versus Colorado, hopefully in the conference final, because if both teams continue on the trajectory that they're on, they're going to make additions. But Vegas, they're the first team in NHL history since, I think, free agency and everything like that. Even going back before, they iced the same exact players from their final game in the Stanley Cup Finals to game one.
They lost one guy, and I forgot who it was, but they lost. I think it was Miller, maybe, or something. I don't remember who it was, but they lost one guy. And like I said, it's very, very rare that happens. Obviously, the Avs lost a lot of guys after winning the Cup, and that's what it should be expected usually. And obviously, Vegas bringing the whole group back and getting Aiden Hill doesn't have to be the number one anymore. Getting back Logan Thompson back is going to help both their growth. But like I said, this team is very, very good. It's very, very good. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a two-man race in the Western Conference. But there's not very many teams that I can look at and be like, what, this team's going to give their run for their money in the West. One of these two teams. If you look at, like I said, Seattle, they beat us in the playoffs last year. They have not looked good to start. Calgary, the Edmonton side, it's been muck.
McDavid's out.
McDavid's out for a couple months, and Evander Kane is people are calling for his head.
And they're 1-4-1 right now. They're second to last in the Pacific.
Like I said, the West is very, very soft. It's very Charmin ultra soft, as we like to say. The East, however, looks even stronger than ever. Is all I'm going to say. But yeah, I like I said, I would love to see those two go at one another in the playoffs. Obviously, we haven't seen that in 3 years. It's been 3 years now. When we won the Cup, they didn't make the playoffs. Last year, we lost before we're getting to them. And then obviously 3 years ago, we lost to them. So lost to Vegas. So let's see if we can get our rebuttal and get to that point, because I think that is on some of these guys' minds. That they
never beat them in the playoffs.
And look, it's only 7 years, don't get me wrong, but it's still a small sample size. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people in the Avs locker room that saw what the Nuggets did, saw that what Vegas did, and said, why can't we do this again? Why can't we do this again? And I think this team, like I said, there seems to be rejuvenation. Obviously, look, as we're recording this, they're down 3-0 to Pittsburgh, which is not a great night so far. But I am very, very excited to see what this youth and the youth group and how much speed this team has already. It seems like a rejuvenated group. And Bednar said it best on Tuesday, last Tuesday. He was like, this team is enjoying itself already. This team is enjoying being on this road trip. They've only played one home game, and they've played 7 games. Like, let's not forget about that. Those long road trips, you become best friends with those guys around you real quickly. And if they didn't start liking each other real quickly, we would have been off to a bad start. But they seem to be enjoying each other and seem to be enjoying the company of them, and around guys, them. And
they're very playing their roles, and they're willing to have their roles shifted, because when we saw Tatar get moved up to line 1 and Drouin get dropped all the way down to 3, it didn't seem like Drouin just figured, okay, yeah, maybe I'm not having success against the other guy's top line, but I can drop down and I'm really good when I play against other third lines, and I have good chemistry with those guys, and it frees up so much. Byram finally getting on the score sheet, like the run so far, nobody goes 82-0. So the fact that they're down 3-0 to Pittsburgh, it was bound to happen at some point.
Even on a long road trip.
Georgiev was stellar early. He kind of got bailed out in that Islanders game a little bit. That was where the team kind of won for Georgie. And I'm not watching the game live right now, so I can't tell you how he did against Pittsburgh. But they're going to be able to get somebody else in defense. They're going to replace that, because I don't think Jack Johnson is going to suit for the playoffs if the Avalanche have their way.
He's probably going to get bad though thus far. We'll see.
No, it's just
very, very good.
If you want to be what the Avalanche want to be, and if we're looking at it, I know that it's super early and we shouldn't be talking about it like this, but if you're going to match yourself up against Vegas in a playoff series, their defensive core is better than ours if we have Jack Johnson suiting. So we need to bring in somebody else. Manson looks like he's finally getting back to being healthy. And it's just, Bednar, the good thing about him, and we know this, is that he will play with the lines all the way up until the last day of the season. Because I remember that Cup run, the guys that played in game 82 was not anybody that started the playoff series that first night against Nashville. So he will mess with the lines. He will find the right combinations. And if somebody needs to move down or move up, they have trust and faith that he's putting them in the right spots. Like this team, they are clicking on all cylinders. And this 6-0 start, they've earned it. This is not a soft 6-0. They've pretty much dominated everybody that they've beaten. Outside of LA, I would say that's the best team that they've played. And LA gave them a good game for a while, but they were able to pretty much outscore, outshoot, outmaneuver, even out physical all the other teams that they've beaten on this 6-game winning streak.
And the additions show that. Like I said, it's one thing to add additions and be like, you know what, like let's see what these guys look like. But you see what these guys look like next to Mac, next to Miko, next to Kale, and you fill these guys into lineup, and it's like these guys are playing with these guys for 15, 20 years. And obviously in Druin's case, he's played with McKinnon for a long time growing up, but a lot of these guys have never sniffed the ice with one another outside of playing against each other, and they've all fit in perfectly. Ryan Johansson's a name that obviously sticks out big time. He's played absolutely excellent in 2C. Right now he's been playing. He's been one of the X factors for your 6-0 start. So I like I said, I think this team still has some pieces. That's the fun part. It's like look. Good teams make additions and deals at the deadline. It doesn't have to be major additions. It's small additions that sure the little creaks in the cracks in the hole that lead to winning a championship. And I think Joe and McFarland are figuring this out as they go. But I do like what we've seen out of every single new addition specifically.
Yeah, and they're not going to sit on their hands like they did last year because I think they were hopeful, optimistic. Maybe they had a different diagnosis for Landeskog. It's different this year. They've already said, like, we're expecting him not to be here at all this year, playoffs, regular season, otherwise. So they're going to be active, and they're not just going to sit around and say, oh, yeah, well, Newhook will figure it out at some point. Like, that's going to be our plan of action. That's hope. I say it all the time. Hope is not a strategy. If you're hoping that this guy is going to build into the role that we've had him here for 3 years to groom, I know that he won a cup. I love Nui. I have no ill will, and he seems to be doing well in his new spot in Montreal. But that's a bad team, and he needed to be on a team where he can struggle and kind of learn his way. He wasn't going to have that luxury here. And now we have more of an older team outside of the young guys that we've kept around from the team before. And your young studs are your experience that you're leaning on right now. Miko is top 5 in points. That's the next thing that I wanted to do here. We don't necessarily have to talk about standings because it is just so early, but like in the East, there's no really soft games in the East right now outside of the few that we already know. Because if you're looking at Detroit, they have 2 of the 3 top leading scorers in the league right now, DeBrincat and Larkin. DeBrincat, I didn't expect to leave from Ottawa last year. I thought that he wanted to be there, play with Giroux and Tkachuk and kind of be a centerpiece of that team. Well, he's in a bigger role in Detroit, and him and Larkin seem like they've been playing together for quite some time. And I even think DeBrincat's first C and Larkin, who's the captain, is down to second line, and it's working great. They have so much skill. Yzerman is putting together a team that we might finally see them back in the playoffs. I don't think they've been in the playoffs since 2015.
And before that, like it was a 30-some-odd year streak of them not making the playoffs. Or sorry, making the playoffs, but not like being in the playoffs, being in the dance, excuse me. And now it's been however long it's been. And like I said, I think it may dating back to the bubble. I think that was the last time they were in playoff contention, quote unquote. Obviously, it was a weird situation in the bubble, but it is very, very weird. And like I said, Yzerman and Detroit has very, very surprised a lot of people. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but Ottawa has also surprised some people. And I think those are the 2 teams that with Stützle and company have been putting up good numbers. Like I said, Boston is the team that people were expecting a lot of steps back, and then obviously rightfully so because the team was the best regular season team of all time, quote unquote, and not even quote unquote. It is a real stat, and obviously the failures in the postseason, losing Bergeron, losing a couple of key pieces, Taylor Hall company, like that's going to affect the team big time. And they've been able to stay afloat thus far has been very, very helpful too. So, like I said, the East is not going to get much more easier. It's just plain and simple. It does not get much easier. Like it's going to get hard-nosed, like have to grind out every single game to get a single point in the Eastern Conference from the NHL.
I'm good with that. Kill each other. Chop each other's arms off. See how well you fight us, and if we get there, hopefully, knocking on wood, all the wood that I can find. Other player that's worth noting. So we have Mikko Rantanen. He's currently 4th in the NHL in points with 12. He's 1 ahead of Draisaitl. And we also have the best stat in the league right now, Alexander Georgiev, since he's played and won all 6 of the Avalanche games so far. Obviously, we're said live right now. not looking great. End of the second period, and they're down 3-0. But he does have the most wins. He's got 2 more than Aiden Hill. 6 wins on the season, puts Georgiev at number 1 in wins right now. We know he loves to play. I know that he needs to get a backup in there. He can't play all 82, but he wants to play like 50, 60 games, and he slowed down a little bit. So obviously he needs some rest, but I have really enjoyed, like, he's taking even further of a step. He already developed quite a bit last season, and now it seems like he's getting even better.
Absolutely. Georgia has been a big reason why this team has been where it's at.
All right. Anything else on the NHL side of things before we transition and it's time to get into some football finally? I put it off for as long as I could in this show, and I let your Nuggets lead, but anything else on hockey before we get into the pigskin?
Like I said, obviously we're recording this and the Avs are down 3-0. And like I said, it's important to Nuggets included on this, basketball included in general. It's like not to get too high or too low on what a team's doing every single night. It's a long season. It takes all 82 games to get to where you want to be. Teams need to take care of business. Like they said, the Avs and Nuggets specifically need to take care of business where they need to. And obviously a loss here and there won't kill anybody. So as long as you see a good growth and good build of the team and see to get where they were, the two organizations were when they won the championships, that's the most important thing.
All right, let's move on. And we're talking about NCAA football. I thought it was this week, but I guess it's next week. I was too early. CFP rankings, the first ones of the season, will drop next week. Just taking a look at some of the big matchups that we have coming up. Florida-Georgia game is this weekend. Florida's actually kind of rebounded. They're 5-2 on the season after starting off pretty down. Oregon, Utah. Yeah.
It's an ugly one.
It's going to be interesting, but it is a neutral site game. That's going to be one of the first games played in Jacksonville in I think about a month, because the Jaguars have been off in London, so that'll be played at the Jaguar Stadium. Oregon, Utah, another tough, big Pac-12 matchup.
That's a big game. It's a very big game. That's going to be a very enticing game.
What Utah did to USC, like, they kind of proved that if you're tough and you find ways to win, you can do pretty much anything. And Utah they've won the Pac-12 6.5. It's Utah. The only thing that they have going against them right now is that it's not a night game. It's kicking off at 1:30. If it's Utah at night, especially this late on in the season, it's wraps. Utes are coming out of that stadium with the victory, and they might pound you before they do. But that's going to be interesting just because it is a little bit earlier, and I don't think they're going to have that. It'll be a great atmosphere, but I don't think they're going to have that upper hand there. Let's see. Air Force continues.
Utah's got a tough barn too. They said that's a very, very, very good game. I think it's game of the weekend. Like I said, I don't expect much out of Florida. I know they bounced back the last couple of weeks, but Georgia, I think, will dominate in terms of games of the week. That's the one you circle.
I think so too. Last couple of games that we'll mention, and then we'll kind of get into discussing the rankings. Air Force continues their undefeated season. They got their first win in the CIC series last week, beating Army. Actually, Navy in Annapolis. It's a tough place to play, even though they're undefeated, and Air Force's quarterback was a little bit banged up. I watched the beginning of that game before I had to go coach my own playoff game, and Air Force, Colorado's kind of slipped, and that's the last game that we're going to talk about because they're coming off their bye. They're going out to Los Angeles to play.
Air Force is a big game, another battle of Colorado. Air Force versus CSU. I'm really, us in the Mile High City are very, very excited for that game. So, like I said, Air Force has been the premier college football team in the state for X amount of years now. So it's going to be a very, very contested game, in my opinion. CSU, Air Force usually do play very, very good games, especially what Norvell has Coach Norvell has done over there with CSU this year specifically, and then obviously what Air Force has continued to build.
And Air Force 14-point favorites going into Fort Collins, so they're going to play in Canvas Stadium out there in Fort Collins, and Air Force is bringing 2 touchdowns with them to that game. That's very easily. It's a rivalry game. It's in conference. It's late in the season, and it starts at 5:00. I don't know what it is, but college games at night get weird, especially like the second half. We could see some fireworks, and then obviously CU, UCLA. CU's trying to get back on the horse after that terrible meltdown against Stanford. This is the first time we're going to see him on the field again. You know Coach Prime has been giving them grief. You know that he's not going to let what they did on the last time they were out there slide. What is it do you think that they're going to be able to do that puts them – because they have to basically win one of these next 3 games against very tough opponents if they want any shot at having bowl eligibility left.
They're right back where they were at the beginning of the season. That's 17.5-point underdogs. Again, on the road to UCLA. It's almost better that we now see CU where they should have been, right? Like we're all on our high horses when they beat TCU, who's not a good team this year, beat Nebraska, who's even worse team this year, and then obviously CSU that barely squeaked by them, which they are a decent team, but not to the level of the Pac-12. Like I said, this is a massive, massive, massive game for CU to get back on track. Absolutely. Like I said, you had this past week off, and you had that time to think about your absolutely terrible loss to Stanford, and now you go to the Rose Bowl, you face UCLA, who's going to be very, very, very game to play you. Chip Kelly and that fast-paced offense is going to be very, very gearing and ready to go. Like I said, I hope Travis Hunter is on a snap count restriction. I hope that you don't throw him out there for as fast as Chip Kelly runs his offense and as fast as UCLA goes up and down the field. But I guess we'll see. It's going to be on the CU's offense for sure to figure things out and see what Shedeur could do now to get some of these better Pac-12 defenses, specifically UCLA. Now you're going to see Oregon State's defense. You're going to see who's the last Utah's defense. Like these are all coming up games, so we're going to see what he's really made of. So, like I said, I'm going to take the points. I'm going to take the spread. I just straight up will say that because I would love to see a better performance, and seeing 17.5, it's almost better that way for CU is all I'm going to say. So I'm very, very enticed. Like I said, I hope that they don't land an egg. I hope they make it a contested bout, and if they make it a close game, anything can happen, and then we'll see if Shedeur is him.
I just want to see him put a full game together because all the games this season, it's been one half where they look great and one half where they've been killed. Even all the way back to TCU, CSU, the games that they won, the games that they lost, it doesn't matter. They have one great half, one bad half. Put two good halves of football together. It doesn't have to be great and terrible. Just put two good halves together so I can see the building of the foundation, because next year we're going to have another 40 new guys in here through the transfer portal. But let's put something together and not have a tale of two games. Put one full game together and let's see what this team is really able to do. Let's take a look quick at the standings. We've been doing the game the last few weeks. We do have new teams that are adding into it. So if we go with a 12-team playoff format, first four teams get a bye. So the first four stay the same. Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State currently. That's obviously not going to be how it finishes out because Michigan and Ohio State will have a game coming up against each other. Michigan will still have to beat Penn State as well.
Michigan has some off the field storylines that we need to talk about too.
Their former coach is being investigated by the
former
FBI.
Coach. Are you sure it's former? That's the key word.
It's former. I'm looking at it.
No. It's Jimmy. It's former is the quotations. Like he doesn't work for the program anymore, but low key, you know what's going on. So
it says former. on ESPN he's fired. Fired Matt Weiss, former assistant football coach.
That wasn't the name that came up. It wasn't Weiss. It was someone else. But go through the rest.
Well, I guess they have more coaches that are being investigated.
It's even worse. I'll let you keep
going.
They're
8-0. Pay attention to this hand. Don't look over at this hand. Pay attention over here. I'm 8-0, and Jim Harbaugh has got these guys like they're the best team. They killed Michigan State. Just pay attention to that. Don't look over here. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Those are the top four currently. Obviously, like we said, that's going to change. But then if we go with the 12-team format, we would have number 12, Ole Miss, traveling to Washington, take on undefeated right now Washington Huskies with Michael Penix, Heisman hopeful at quarterback. Oklahoma would be hosting Oregon State. Texas hosts Penn State. And then Oregon would host Alabama. Alabama's still hanging around, 7-1. They've looked better. They've looked worse at times. But those teams, we've talked about them pretty much all season. They've been right around those rankings. Ole Miss is the one addition at this point. Of those matchups that I just mentioned, who do you think would have the most interest or the most chance of possibly slipping up? Because that's what this 12-team format is going to do. You have to win multiple games, like 3 in a row, to become national champions at this point. Who do you think would probably have the worst matchup?
I think Oklahoma, Oregon State is a game that you'd have to circle. I think those two programs will be two teams that could go on deep runs. I think if you look at and talking March Madness basketball here a little bit, it's a Cinderella team that everyone's looking at like, it's a lookover game. It's those 4 seeds, pesky 4 seed, that pesky 4, 8 seed, whatever it may be, that you're like, you know what, that's a game where these guys are going to give absolute war to whoever they face in the next round. I think look what Oklahoma has done this so far this year, and then you look at what Texas has also done. A couple of Big 12 schools that are moving over. Both those teams, I feel like they have shown that they could play with the SEC. I know we were very, very skeptic, but what they did against Alabama, what they've done against these other schools, yeah, their defense isn't what it should be, but their offense is showing that they can face these top SEC teams, and that's where they'd give them trouble. I think that's very, very promising for Oklahoma and Texas moving forward. But like I said, these Pac-12 schools and these schools moving away from the Pac-12/Big 12 is really what intrigues me, because these teams are gearing up their rosters, specifically coaches specifically, are gearing up their rosters for that next level. Because like I said, SEC offensive linemen are not expected to run 130 plays a damn game like UCLA is supposed to. those UCLA offensive linemen are expected to be tip-top shape and be able to up and down the field every single down. SEC offensive linemen, not so much, okay? So that's where things differ with this top 12 and why it makes things so interesting. But you've seen some of these teams start to form into what they're going to be in these bigger conferences, and that's why Oregon State, Oklahoma, Texas in general would make things interesting in a playoff like this.
I agree with you. It's going to be interesting format. Those are our college takes at this moment. Now we get to transition over into the NFL. Nico, we had a terrible weekend last weekend. Both of us. You still ended up having the better record out of the week. I only won the one game because I tried to go against you with Miami, and you ended up winning with Philly. But out of the 5 games that we picked, so we picked Jacksonville Saints last week, Falcons Bucks, Packers Broncos. It was, and the Falcons. They tried to give it to the Bucks a lot of times, so they did their best to try and help us. Packers ended up coming just short, and the Broncos able to get their second win on the season, first win at home in front of their fans. Eagles beat the Dolphins on Sunday Night Football. 49ers lose to the Vikings, and Brock Purdy just doesn't look good at the right time for me, because I've been wearing it. I'll show you guys some other memorabilia stuff I'm adding to my Bengals collection. They're playing this weekend, the Bengals and 49ers, and the 49ers are reeling at the right time for me. So it's not all bad, but last week it was tough, like all throughout. There's so many upsets, so many games I saw going one way. And
I think the underdogs won 9 of the 10 games or something like that. I don't know how many games were on Sunday specifically, but I think the spread in terms of covering the spread, at least, if not winning, but covering the spread, it was that crazy. It was that ridiculous of a weekend. And like I said, I almost want to say it was an outlier weekend. Like I said, I don't trust the Broncos. I don't trust I don't trust some of these other teams that won. I sure as hell still don't trust Atlanta after they put Bijan Robinson on the he's healthy, but let's just set him out the whole game. Fuck my fantasy team, I guess. But like I don't trust some of these teams still. And I think it was an outlier week. They were like, wow, that team beat that team. And look, the Lions, who we had the highest praise for, got their fucking shit kicked in. Absolute shit kicked in, where they looked like the same old Lions.
They had 400 yards passed on them by a quarterback who can't throw.
Yeah, those Lamar quarterback conversations got real quiet against a very good team.
I'm not saying anything right now.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. So it seemed like an outlier weekend. Is all I'm gonna say.
I'm hoping that it was. I finished 1-4. You finished 2-3 on the season. If you're watching live with us, you see it scrolling. I'm 20-18. Nico's 27-14. Those 3 games looking even bigger now because it gives them a 7-game lead on me. But I still have a chance. And obviously, we're not picking the Thursday night game since that one's going on live right now. The Bills just took a 10-0 lead after a long touchdown drive. So Bills leading the Bucs. We are going to still be picking 5 games. Broncos, Bengals games in there. And I threw in the Jaguars, Steelers because the Steelers surprised me last weekend. Jaguars are number 1 in that division, but the Texans aren't giving them as much breathing room as we thought at the beginning of the season. So that one has a lot of implications in both divisions because I believe the Steelers are they're ahead of the Browns for second place because they ended up getting the win over Cleveland. But the Jaguars favored by 2.5 on the road. That's where we're kicking things off for week 8 of the Pick'em here. What are your thoughts on this one, and who are you going with? I'll let you pick the first game here.
Pause on this before I even say this, but I'll be jagging off this weekend. Give me the Jaguars with the 2.5. I like I said, I may be the firmest Jaguar believer on this podcast. I know you still don't believe in them, but I believe in them. And like I said, Calvin has really not gotten going at all. But they've used Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram to the fullest extent. Travis Etienne right now looks like a top 3 running back in the NFL. He's been absolutely incredible as far. And this defense for Jacksonville, it's had a couple slip-ups, but they've been pretty solid throughout. Obviously, you look at the defense and how much more sick would this defense have been with Aiden Hutchinson is the big question mark. Because Trayvon Walker has kind of fallen off to that lower tier level of defense of pass rusher. But this defense has figured it out defensively, and their DBs are getting to where they need to be. So yeah, I'll take the Jaguars. I still don't believe in Trubisky, or not Trubisky. I don't still believe in Pickett. Same fucking person. Trubisky, Pickett. One just wears the laws, one doesn't. And one number's 8, one wears number 10. But yeah, give me the Jags. I don't believe in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh will win some ugly games. This wouldn't be surprising me if they won an ugly game here, but I'm taking Jacksonville with 2.5, especially. The only problem is going on the road, but as they know, they love playing on the road. That's why they play in London twice a year. So give me the Jaguars.
I'm going to go with the Jaguars because Matt Canada is sabotaging that Steelers team, because if he would call plays and put his guys in the right position, use George Pickens the way that Kenny Pickett did when he called that audible to win the game, where the stone face was hilarious. That was awesome, but I just don't trust him. And the Jaguars are a team right now. They've found their identity, and they're winning the games that they should win. This is a game that they probably should win. I think the Steelers' record is a little bit inflated because they have that culture there already, but I have too much faith in the Jaguars offense, and I don't have enough faith in Matt Canada on the Steelers side. And obviously, I never pick the Steelers. Never pick the Steelers on the show. So I'm going with the Jaguars also. Next game up, Bengals at 49ers.
Game of the
49ers,
weekend.
obviously.
I think it's game of the weekend. It's probably going to be Sammy D versus the Cincinnati Bengals is what you're going to get.
Who's Sammy D?
Sam Darnold, the ghost man. The ghost man. Backup.
Shit.
When
we play backup quarterbacks, Nico, we lose.
It really does not use the anvil when you face. Yeah, like I said, you hit the nail on the head. It does not use the anvil when you face backups. 4 is a lot for the 49ers with Sam Darnold, is all I'm going to say. I will say on the road, that's a little bit tougher for Cincinnati because if you want a sure bet every weekend, just bet Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown score. I don't care who the hell he's playing.
Is he back?
He scored 2 touchdowns last week and just walked them in. Look, that was a very eye-opening loss against Minnesota. Don't get me wrong, from San Francisco. But I think that is Brock Purdy just trying to do too much and trying to play out of the system. And like I said, this weekend we will see if it's the quarterback or if it's the system, Jimmy. I will make that declaration. And our local 49ers fan, Fat Boy Fadeaway over there, and Tyler, I think he'll agree. Is tonight? If this weekend, we'll find out. Is this a system that a quarterback can thrive in, or is this Brock Purdy? Because if Sam Darnold goes out there and fucking balls like no other with the guys around him, there's going to be some conversations. Is all I'm going to say. It's going to be some conversations. So we'll see. I'm picking the 49ers because I still think that this offense is very, very talented. And look, the Vikings defense is not very good, but I do think that this 49ers offense will get it figured out against this Bengals defense. I will say the week off will help. The Bengals, but just to ride against you for once for one of these games, I'll take the 49ers.
I'm picking the Bengals. I wrote it down before you made your pick. I am nervous about Nick Bosa going up against our offensive line. I'm hoping that they figured some shit out over the
and Randy Gregory, who had 2 sacks, by the way, in Minnesota.
Yeah. Here's the thing that the Bengals are going to need to do to win this game: run the damn football. Run the damn football, set up some play action, and get Jamar Chase out in space. Because if you try and be an air raid college offense like we were doing the first 2 weeks of the season when Burrow couldn't get under center, it's just not going to go. Like, Fred Warner is going to kill us. Nick Bosa is going to cut Joe Burrow in half. I'm going to be miserable watching this game. I still have faith in the Bengals. Like, they can very well, like, this is not a stretch to say that they can and maybe in some instances will win this game. But I am very nervous to see, like, this is a great defense to test yourself against. And the offense hasn't looked good at all this season. There's not been a single performance where you look at it and go, that's the Bengals team I remember from last season and the year before. No, they need to figure this out, and you got to figure it out quick now because you're giving up 4 on the road, and it's a tough place to play. But this is one of the last weeks. Like, if I have faith in you this week. If you piss on me, I'm going to be starting to talk about getting Xavier Worthy in to replace T. Higgins, and I'm going to be watching college football a lot more than NFL football if the Bengals drop this one. Split on that one. You got the 49ers. I got the Bengals. Now we're on to your Broncos, your donkeys. They're hosting the Chiefs. I didn't realize they had the Chiefs to win in 3 weeks.
I'll make this short and sweet. I've not taken. Look, I'm a man of my word. I'll say that every damn week. I'm a man of my word. Give me the Chiefs, and I hate saying that out of my mouth, but give me the Chiefs. I'll be cheering
That's 2 times within a month.
I know. I'll give.
What the? That's interesting. Nico just cut out as he was saying it live. I'm hoping that he'll be able to just jump back in through the same link. Well, I think I know what he was going to say. The Chiefs, they have a winning streak over the Broncos currently, and I don't know if this is going to be the game. They got their win last week against Green Bay, but they just still don't have the wherewithal. Sean Payton lighting up Vance Joseph, and I know he came out already and said that it was fine. That's just how he coaches, and he's probably going to have more disagreements. I think that's true. But at this point, I don't have enough faith in the Broncos to say that this is the weekend they're going to win. They have a better chance of breaking the streak at home. They've almost been able to do that a few times. There he is.
Wouldn't be talking to Denver Broncos in Halloween year without my browser just unexpectedly just closing out. That's how little that's my computer telling me that you need to stop talking about bad things. That's exactly what that sign is, Jimmy. Is talking about bad things and talking about the D word / the DB. The DB. I'm not even going to announce the team because, like we said, with the number 72 on the offensive line, the DBs, give me them to lose this weekend. Yeah, I cannot stand watching this team. It sucks that we fucking lost last week that we won last week because the Bears won, the Cardinals won, and if we would have lost, we would have been tied. We would have been second. We would have solely had the number 2 spot in the NFL draft behind the Panthers, which pick is the Bears, worthy enough, because the Panthers still haven't won a game. Would have been the number 2 pick, and we would have great chances at Caleb Williams / Drake May. But here we are winning games we fucking shouldn't be. And like I said, this team, I don't know, Jimmy. I don't know what to expect. If this team wins this week, I will have no words. I will have no words is all I'm going to say. But yeah, give me the Chiefs. Give me the Drake May Bowl. Hopefully we can go out to get Drake May / Caleb Williams. Whoever, maybe he pulls an Elway and doesn't want to play for Chicago. I don't know. Give me one of those because I can't stand this team. I really just cannot stand watching this team. And look, this is the episode before Halloween that we're recording. The next episode that comes out will be after Halloween, and spooky season is upon us. And October 31st, if there isn't a fucking fire sale in Denver, Colorado, in that Mile High Stadium when the trade deadline is next Tuesday, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. I hope this weekend Bears so bad that everybody that isn't worth shit on this team gets fucking shipped somewhere else because I need to fucking lose, Jimmy. I want to lose. I have my winning teams back, Jimmy. I don't need to win every week for my mental health stable. This team can lose now. Now that I can cheer on the Nuggets, be happy. Cheer on the Avs, be happy. I don't need to cheer on these donkeys and every week, okay? I can cheer on them to lose so that way we can get back to relevancy, okay? So give me the Chiefs. Fucking give me the points as well, -7. I'll even stand on that. If the Broncos cover, I want a loss. So give me the Chiefs at -7.
All right, I'm writing it in. Chiefs -7. I'm just taking the Chiefs to win because the Broncos seem to play them close at home. I mean, that's the closest that they've been to beating them within the last 7 years since Peyton Manning was here. Sunday night football game, the Bears and the Chargers. We have to watch the Bears in prime time. I think this will probably be one of the last times all season. And we get, I believe it's still going to be, and now the name, Tyson Badgett. Tyson Badgett. You want to know before this past weekend who the team he started his last game at quarterback against was?
Was it Western? Because it was a D2 player.
Colorado School of Mines. Last year's playoffs. Mines knocked him out in a shootout. I believe it was like a 48-45 score. But that was the last time that he had played and started a game at quarterback until this past weekend where he led the Bears to victory, and in a surprising fashion, I might add, because they killed Las Vegas. And I know the Raiders suck and Josh McDaniels is awful, but the Bears with a D2 quarterback from Shepherd State. I was listening to the Barstool podcast. They're like, it's a made-up college. He actually never played college football. He's just out there. His dad's like a 6-time world arm wrestling champion. And I don't know if you saw the interview that he gave. He's like, what were you going to do if you didn't get a shot? Like, you didn't make the roster. I was going to go back to my hometown, be the football coach / gym teacher at my local school. Oh, cool.
Sounds about right for a D2 quarterback is all I'm going to say. Sounds
hey,
damn right. No, I said
shout out top of the mountain. I know. Shout out top of the mountain because we're going to be talking D2 football
Offensive linemen are much smarter, Jimmy. So that's why I said quarterback. I want to make sure I cut that in there. D2 quarterbacks, that's their goal in life is to be the high school gym teacher is all I'm going to say, okay? See, you're smarter than that, Jimmy. That's why I give you your kudos, okay?
High school middle school social studies teacher, yeah.
Exactly. Much higher up. Takes a lot more wit and a lot more smarts than that, okay? But yeah, if they weren't playing the Chargers, I would have almost taken the Bears here. Sorry, if they weren't playing the Bears, I would have almost taken the Bears here. Like, sorry, if the Chargers weren't playing the Bears here, I can't talk. Obviously, I got this championship fucking banner stuck in my mouth. If the Chargers weren't playing the Bears here, I would have taken anyone but the Chargers. But they're playing the Bears, and that's why things get interesting here. But the Chargers are, God damn it, Jimmy, maybe the worst franchise in NFL history. And I will stand on that. They every damn year, Jimmy, they have Justin Herbert, they have Austin Eckler, they have Mike Williams, they have Keenan Allen, they have Derwin James, they have Joey Bosa. They have star after star after star. And guess what? This team loses after loses after loses. This franchise is like I said. I always say, you can take the franchise out of San Diego, but you can't take the San Diego out of the team. There's a reason why San Diego doesn't have one professional sports team, major sports teams anymore. Okay, or actually outside San Diego Padres, but they're irrelevant. Okay, because the Diamondbacks in the World Series. But I just don't believe in the Chargers. I really don't, and I am this close to picking the Bears. I really am. I hate doing it, but maybe it's because I want the Bears to win so that the Broncos can get a higher draft spot. So I'm gonna take the Bears. I hate myself for this. I really do. Yes. But I really hate myself for this. But I hope I get one here. I really, really do. I hope I get one here because it'll be great for the Broncos and it'll be great for my standings. So give me the Bears. I can't. The Chargers are just terrible.
This is my opening. This is where I get 2 of those 3 games back because I know Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football is Raiders and Lions. Lions favored by 8 points. I know you're not picking the Raiders, so I know we're on the same wavelength. I said it before. The Lions are my family team because they're built from their offensive line out. So my family loves watching those games, and I know you're not picking the Raiders, so I'm just going to pencil you in for the Lions. Am I correct?
Yes, you're not wrong about that. But by the way, what horrific primetime football games this week. Don't get me wrong. The Bills are we're not watching Thursday Night Football. The Bills are terrible last week. The Buccaneers are, I don't know what to expect from them every single week. Then you give me the fucking Bears and the Chargers. Ugh. Then you give me the damn Lions. Oh, not the Lions, but you give me the Raiders who lost to fucking Tyson Badgett. Jimmy, I don't know who the people are that upgrade games, but how the 49ers Bengals aren't a goddamn primetime football game this week is beyond me, is all I'm going to say. Because that is a possible Super Bowl matchup. I will say it. It's a possibility.
It's a prediction that I made.
Yeah, it is a very, very possible Super Bowl matchup, okay? And I have to sit on my couch and watch the goddamn Raiders on Monday Night Football and the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. The Broncos are bad. Those teams may even be worse, okay? So, yeah, the Lions are not going to lose 2 in a row like they did. And look, your prediction of Josh McDaniels' last game ever coaching against the Broncos is very, very close to becoming.
It's close.
It's getting very close because they are this close to cutting his nuts off and not letting him walk in the city of Vegas. And that is not a city that you don't want to be banned from. Is all I'm going to say.
No. You got to get out of there before you get banned. If you get banned, then you can't have any fun.
Exactly. So Josh Fields, for your sake, I hope that you just resign out of your own morals, because the
You know
Vegas
what? I'm
Las
not a
Vegas
good
Raiders
head
are up
coach.
your
I'm going to
nuts.
go back to the offensive coordinator in New England. That's my job. I'm not ever going to be a good head coach. That's just not in the cards for Josh McDaniels. Last thing that I want to say on the NFL, I think this is where I'm going to bring it up, but I did add to my memorabilia collection. I know you like the sports collecting stuff. I'm holding it up to the camera. Hopefully you can see that there. The glare is off of it. I have an Anthony Munoz signed helmet that I got a couple years ago for my birthday. And this year, Raleigh, shout out to my girlfriend, awesome girlfriend. She got me a signed Boomer Esiason helmet and a signed Boomer Esiason jersey.
Gotta get you a frame for that sucker. I love having that
I need a frame. I got to go to
jersey.
Michael's. It's a little bit. I need to get one that I can wear. I'm not too much of a collector. I like to wear the stuff that I get, so
Oh,
it's hard for me not to put that one on. But I'm like, okay,
I am
I'll
the
do the right
definition of
thing.
the collector. Should I walk around my apartment and show you?
Yeah.
I mean, I am the definition.
Go back
of
and
a
watch our
dumb-
early episodes on the GoPro, and you see all Nico's sports memorabilia up behind us. It's tough for me, but I'm doing the right thing. And kind of the last shout out that I'll give, I tweeted it out on our account. So if you follow us, you already saw. It's an important day for me. One of my all-time mentors. I don't know if you came to the Heritage camps a couple times when we were in middle school, right? Or did you ever have any contact with Coach Barron?
Just once or twice, and not very often. No.
And it's incredible because even it's 3 years, which is insane to me. I can remember I was working from home at my dad's company when I found out the news that unfortunately my former wrestling coach, defensive line coach, national high school coaching Hall of Famer here in Colorado, guy that's been doing it. He did it for 45 plus years, and the number of athletes and the number of lives that he changed and impacted, and just all the lessons that he taught. Ray Barron deserves to be celebrated. He's continued to be kept on by his family. They set up a scholarship fund that they give out to one wrestler from Colorado every year. It's a $25,000 scholarship for their first year of college, to try and move on. And it's not just, for wrestling scholarships, but like just good people in the community, because as much as Coach Barron loved winning, it was always about churning out better people. Like I dealt with some all-time losses with that guy, like getting absolutely waxed. And you got to find it. This is not going to be the hardest thing that you go through in your life. That was always his thing. Like, you're going to become an adult. You're going to get kicked around. And you're going to learn what real pain is. So do the burpees that I'm making you do. Do the 48 burpees that you have to finish off practice with, spelling out Heritage Eagles Wrestling. I don't know why the hell we did that every time before we ended going into a duel. I was like, God, why do we have to? He's like, just do it. If you just do it, put your mind to it, you'll get it accomplished. Like the definition of mental toughness embodied in a person. I love Coach Barron more than I think that I was able to let him know while he was here. So just my friendly reminder, if you have somebody that you're close to, make sure you tell them exactly what they mean to you, because things change very quickly. And it almost seems like I went from being his wrestler to hearing about him fighting cancer to that moment. I'll never forget my basement where I just kind of had to take a moment to myself. Like, this is real. This is the unfortunate part of growing up and continuing on and being the adult that you want to be. Now I'm trying to be the next generation of Coach Barron. I don't think I'm anywhere close to filling his shoes or that whistle, but like that's a damn good goal for myself to
I know
keep up.
I know you're making him proud, Jay.
I'm doing my best. It's tough. It's a hard day for me, but I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate everybody catching the impromptu live show, and I appreciate you working with me. I would have been a zombie last night, coming off the field after football and wrestling practice in a day. I'd have been like, yeah, the Broncos, they might be good. They might win the Super Bowl. What are you doing? I'm falling asleep. He's sitting here. So I'm glad we were able to do this one. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. Be sure, if you're watching live on YouTube, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, tell a friend that you enjoy the show, tell them where you can find us. Every Thursday, normal shows. Tomorrow night, we'll be live with Top of the Mountain talking D2 football. We have a top 10 matchup in Division II Colorado football right now. Western Colorado, number 9 team in the country, going to Golden. Game sold out. Nobody can get tickets anymore. Playing the number 1 Colorado School of Mines Ore Diggers. We're going to be talking plenty about that game coming up. Unfortunately, Rev and I probably aren't going to be able to make it in person. And then Sunday Scaries coming up on Sunday. Nico, I'm glad you got to see the banner. That's an awesome moment. I'm glad that you were able to experience that with your dad and your family being in the same building. Great live episode. And what do you want to leave the people with before we let them finish up their week?
Still world champs, baby. Still world champs. I will. One other. I know we don't talk baseball, but shout out to the D-backs and being the Phillies. We love our mid markets. We're a mid market. What do we call ourselves? Mid major
champions.
We're mid-major champions, and I think Dallas, Texas, and I think definitely
Glendale, Arizona,
Phoenix, Arizona are mid-major cities. So I'm and look, it's not the heroics of it, but I'm excited for the World Series. So I'll be betting on it. Hopefully, I don't have a dog in either race, but I'm going to be excited to watch it. So that's very exciting. But yeah, Nuggets are still. I'm going to remind the world it shines nice and bright under this light I have. Right, it's nice and pretty. Yeah, still world champions.
I know. I'm also going to finish the live show.
Hey, hold on, Joe. You might need to update the banner. Still world champions and still the Lakers daddies. I think that's the new update. I think that's the update we need, Jimmy. Still need the update. Yep. Give me the ticker.
I'm getting it.
Give me the ticker.
The Lakers daddy. All right, here we go. Live and in person for the first time on the Far End of the Bench YouTube channel.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. I love it.
And with that, we're going to leave you with the Who's Your Daddy chants into the outro. Thank you very much for tuning in. Check us out next week for our same time, same channel, regular podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Episode 157 of the Far End of the Bench podcast. For myself, Jimmy Pilato, my co-host, Nico Bryant. We will see you guys next week.
Peace.
Michael Malone told us, he said, I'm not going to give minutes just because you might be a talked about rookie. You got to earn minutes, and all these guys know that.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.